Hector Manuel Ruiz Valenzuela, who goes by the famous name of Pityn Toys, who at one point was very famous and possibly had a good amount of money where he could survive good and retire, and he was part of the Marquitos Toys collective where he would make them help make YouTube videos and help him create part of his massive fan base of 4 million subscribers. But eventually, nothing of that will benefit him, because as of right now, he can be seen in the streets without the good lifestyle that he was once living and without money. Pityn Toys sadly never got good management or had a good role model next to him that will guide him into helping him create his own identity or create his own way of making income instead of helping others make their money. It also seems to me like Pityn Toys was a person who depended on people. Pityn Toys was a person who grew up in Sinaloa. He was a regular kid. It is alleged that he went to the Mexican army and was a soldier for them at a moment. However, he did not last long because he would get kicked out of the military due to bad behavior. After being kicked out of the military, Pityn Toys decided to try his luck and go to Tijuana in search of money. He would go work with his uncle who gave him a job in the underworld, and he worked there for a little bit. However, he had to leave that job after he did a bad business move that would cause him to leave Tijuana in emergency and fear for his life because of certain characters that were now after him in Tijuana. He went back to Culiacan. There, he asked his uncle Rocha Moya for help. Rocha Moya will later become governor of Sinaloa. Rocha Moya was his uncle thanks to his wife, the lady named Socorro Ruiz Carrasco, who actually passed away already. Pityn Toys would do favors for them around the house and for the family and other people around the neighborhood. He would wash their cars and do chores around. However, the people started to not like him because he had a drug problem that he developed in Tijuana. Eventually, the people that would help him stopped giving him money, and Pityn Toys was unemployed. Pityn saw that the money was no longer coming in from these people, so he decided to look for money for himself this time. He went and asked Marquito Toys for a job in a car wash that Marquito Toys had opened, and he got hired. From what I see, I can say that Marquito Toys has always been a good person, despite of the rumors that are around him. Marquito Toys started to grow affection towards Pityn because he was a humorous guy. He was funny to be around, and eventually Pityn Toys started to make appearances in the YouTube channel of Marquito Toys, and the people actually loved him because he was a humble and funny guy. Pityn Toys helped Marquitos gain more fame, and Marquitos never betrayed him. He would actually share luxurious moments with them and good memories together. However, Pityn Toys would continue his drug problem and alcohol problems. Marquito Toys would eventually take him to rehab to try and clean him up. Pityn Toys disappeared for a couple of months and was not seen on the YouTube videos of Marquitos because he was in rehab. Eventually, he came out and continued to make videos with Marquitos. In each appearance that he would have on the YouTube channel, he would get paid $500 for just being himself in these videos. However, just a few months after him coming out of rehab, he started to show signs of mental illnesses. In a video of Marquitos, he can be seen talking to himself in a very unusual way. Pityn Toys would not only waste his money on drugs and alcohol, he wasted it on females as well. He developed mental problems like schizophrenia and developed other health issues in his stomach. Pityn Toys started hanging around people who started to give him bad advice. They would tell him that Marquitos was using him and taking the money that belonged to him, when in reality, Marquitos always wanted the best for him. Around 2022 or 2023, he left the Marquito Toys group and went on his own to another state with the group of friends that were advising him of what he should do. And they made him believe that he could be a singer, a dream that Pityn Toys always had. And I'm not saying that he could not be a singer. However, he was a complicated man who had issues, and the people around him didn't really want the best of him. They helped him, however, record an album. This album was released, and when it was released, they extorted him out of the money from the album and whatever money he had left, and they left him with nothing. He would go back in disappointment to Culiacan and ask Marquito Toys for help once again. Marquitos opened his arms for him once again and helped him. However, Pityn did not last long, as Marquitos Toys had put a lot of rules on him to help him clean his act and for him to stay in the group. Pityn Toys did not like this. He wanted to keep on partying and living the life of substances, and so he did. Pityn Toy nowadays has no fame and no income. He also has mental and health issues that can be argued that he caused himself. He can sadly be seen on the streets of Culiacan sometimes, roaming the streets asking for money or alcohol. Pityn Toys was a loved man. It seemed by everyone that he was loved, but he never managed to clean his act as a younger male, and now as a fully grown man and going into the elder age, he has to pay the consequences of never cleaning up his act. And as we know, Marquito Toys left the country, so he's not helping him out. Pityn Toys is truly on his own now, as he only let down everyone around him.